Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I am back with a PvZ on the map Whirlwind Ladder Edition. It looks like today I'm going to have a game between our Protoss in the lower right hand corner, spawning in the blue trunks. His name is EternityYosh. This is certainly not my first time casting him. I remember doing this before. And in the upper left hand corner, our Zerg in the red trunks. His name is TheZergLord. Now, in other news today, I guess we could just go ahead and talk about where things are at with the Neo TV Star League. It seems like, you know, everyone is getting on to being ominous and like trying. They're waiting for that moment to announce something, and that moment is just right around the corner. I feel like I don't know how to describe it. Right now, my ESL contacts are in Beijing, when typically he would only be in Hong Kong. That's about like it's considerable distance. We're talking about a 24/7, 365 tropical area close to the equator that is, you know, like, I want to say the distance between those two places is like southern Texas to Maine, if you were to compare it to the United States. Pardon me for being just a little bit sleepy, as, you know, I did just wake up, and I gotta go following this probe around, like, come on. Hang on just a minute. Looks like I just picked up on raid call. This is me with the Rush Clan. Sorry. Rush Clan is actually the premier amateur league, or not premier amateur league, but the premier amateur clan in Taiwan. Back in the day, before Sen joined Gamma Bears, before Sen even joined Fnatic, he was a member of Rush Clan. That's in the Brood War days. Unfortunately, I'm probably the biggest piece of new blood anyone could run into. I never really got too big on the Brood War scene. In fact, the only player that there's only a couple of players, or even a handful of players I know of that have been around since Brood War that are now around, and by that I mean Flash, Boxer, yeah, Boxer, Day 9, of course, at the World Cyber Games. But of course, who doesn't know who the hell Day 9 is? I mean, the thing is, there's just so much I don't know about the Brood War scene. I feel like I'm leaving, you know, everyone in the dark by and just coming along and trying to cast, but could be, you know, could be worse. You could just run across some kind of a bronze leaguer who's trying to cast professionally. But of course, if you want to talk about gaming personalities and how their leagues have no relation to what they do, I guess we could talk about DJ Wheat. Last I checked, he was only Platinum League on the North American ladder. However, that's entirely irrelevant. We do have a rather standard opener, I guess, coming from EternityYosh. He did go ahead and throw down a pylon block, and it looks like... Is it going to be thwarted? Oh, yeah, it's going to be taken down, of course, but I was just a little bit curious, you know. Is EternityYosh going to do something like throw down a gateway to be super extra annoying at the last second? Of course, the probe's just arriving here. He's not going to try and throw down a pylon, is he? Okay, okay. No, he was just trying to yank this guy's chain, pull some time off, and essentially what this does is it does nothing but grate a Zerg player's nerves. At least from my perspective, it does. Now, I'm not entirely sure how long this replay lasts. So that's a part of the surprise, guys. That's the best part about it. Okay, so double gas in the main. That's to be expected. But of course, EternityYosh went with a Forge Fast Expand, which is kind of like, it's kind of going out of style, just a little bit. My understanding is that Naniwa does not like to do the Forge Fast Expand opener. Sorry about that, I had to get a sip on my Rockstar Recovery. We do have +1 now going down along with Warp Gate Tech, of course, rather standard game unfolding. Meanwhile, I'm a little curious to see just which of these two hatcheries is going to finish up first. We've got 2 of them in production, for crying out loud. This one... Okay, that one's about 10 seconds behind the one at the third. Again, like, what this really does is it simply delays drone production, but the longer... I mean, there's some things you can do to make up for it in the main. But of course, the natural... Well, the main is actually just going to go straight into double gas. I was going to say that some drones could be pulled from the main and put on the natural, but, you know, ZergLord actually has some pretty good macro skills. He's going for double gas, and he's going to try and follow it up as best he can. As for EternityYosh, I was going to say that perhaps we were going to see a Stargate opener, but just as I say that, You know, we see 3 gateways going down. And it looks like this could perhaps turn into a 4-gateway forward pressure into an expo. Presently, like, that's the biggest, you know, that's the one thing we're waiting to find out the most. These gases are going down a little bit late. There's no Robo Bay, and just as I say that, there's a Stargate going down. How could I miss that? The thing is, when these things are building, they all look the same. Protoss structures almost all look the same when they're building. The only perhaps difference is their size, you know, of course, the pylon and the cannon and so on. But now we've got so much going down at the same time for our Protoss. +1 just finished up. Upgrades, strong units for Protoss. And of course, Warp Gate Tech is going to finish in 10 seconds. And of course, Robotics Facility is also on the way. So the question is, are we going to see more gateways getting tacked on in the near future? Or are we just going to see, you know, this Stargate opener used for forward pressure, and then perhaps, you know, a 3rd going down? Wow, that is a really early 3rd, and that is a brave move at that for Yosh. Meanwhile, Metabolic Boost is now finishing up, and 14 roaches have just been queued up. They don't have speed. Now, the one thing that I do want to say our Protoss can do that can take care of this, or at least, you know, end the steam on that kind of attack, would definitely be getting out some Void Rays. I'm a little curious. Does Mothership Core spot that Roach Warren? It did. And that's it. It looks like this is the forward offensive pressure that's going to be coming from the ZergLord. I believe he's at 0-0 upgrades. Not only that, he doesn't have Roach speed. And that's going to be extremely dangerous, because if there are any Void Rays that make it out, or at least get cranked out in the near future, and this is big too, we have to see EternityYosh basically wall that off completely. And I feel like these sentries are gonna get thrown away. They're really expensive. I mean, 100 gas, 50 minerals. I mean, think about it. That's so much more you can do. That's your +1. That's your +1 attack for Protoss, isn't it? Oh boy, Photon Overcharge goes down, and the sentries just kind of running, kind of stalling for time. And it looks like this Nexus is gonna fall. I mean, he can do he can do whatever he wants to try and save it, but looks like we're just going to have EternityYosh set back a little bit economically. He's already oversaturated on his natural and his main. Well, at least his natural. So that means he's ready to go with whatever else he can. And wow, 1 HP Zealot, 7 kills. That is a Spartan, ladies and gentlemen. But oh, this is pretty big right here. There's no wall up. Some wings are getting inside, and it looks like we have the ZergLord completely oblivious to this huge opportunity that he has. No, finally he's taking advantage of it, but the sentry throws out a force field at the same time. Roaches come forward and break down the first gateway. And now we have double immortals going down here, and I'm just a little curious, how the hell is this going to work out? Most of these immortals are going to fall, but wow, how is he going to be able to follow this up? How is he going to save himself? How is he going to save his skin? Oh man, it looks like, oh boy, we got double immortals being cranked out. If there's anything that can save it, it'd definitely be that. We have Photon Overcharge going down on the Nexus as well, trying to do its damnedest to hold its ground, and it looks like it'll be able to do that, but not without losing the cybernetics core first. The Stargate gets unpowered. And what happened to the Phoenixes in all of this? They're over here just doing nothing. They could be over here lifting up some roaches, perhaps, you know, doing a little bit of economic damage here in the essence of killing overlords, causing a supply block and things of that nature. But alas, it looks like the ZergLord may be just overcommitting a little teeny bit too much. He's going to try and get this last gateway here and then just get the hell out. And he tries to make a run by half of the natural, but of course, when you have too many probes, it doesn't do that much damage if you kill less than, well, if you don't kill all of them. If you don't kill all of them that are on the mineral line. Now we have a bunch of Lings just waiting out here. +1 and Glial Reconstitution now going down for Zerg, along with +1 Carapace. Fourth going down for Zerg as well. And behind this, EternityYosh is trying to take an early 3rd. If he can hold this, if this entire Zerg army goes in here and doesn't do enough damage this time around, then we may see EternityYosh in a position to come back in this game. I think he can. He's got enough sentries to do this. He's got enough zealots. The only thing is, we have to see the Photon Overcharge be beautiful. And there it is! the roaches are actually taken down quite easily. One for one, if a roach is not microed versus a zealot, the zealot wins that fight. Because, of course, roaches are holding still, and the zealots just get free swipes at them all day, like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Yeah, I'm sure you guys need that. Alright, enough of this Wolverine wannabe stuff. Okay, so the main is oversaturated by one probe, but the natural is, of course, extremely oversaturated. And it looks like he's going to continue to oversaturate until he's got enough to put on the third. He's already got... No, he could already do that. He just pulled them and put them on the third, as you can see right here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we have Swarm Host getting integrated into the mix. I do want to highlight that this is extremely dangerous, that... not that our Zerg is going for it, but just simply due to the fact that late game, if we see our Protoss not able to do enough damage to the infrastructure of his opponent via Warp Prism or whatever else have you, then it could basically mean the end of the game for him. I've seen games where, you know, Zergs played against Protosses, and the reason why they won is because they starved out their Protoss opponent on gas. They couldn't use the... And of course, Protoss cannot directly engage that army. Phoenix is just over here. I'm completely oblivious as to what they're trying to do. There's so many chances to kill Overlords here. Oh my god. Slight mistakes here by Yosh, but of course, if he ever wakes up to that, he will be able to really, really become an extremely strong player. The thing is, you have to ask yourself in a game of StarCraft, am I doing enough to damage my opponent, his economy, his income, his this, his that, his everything else in between? And there's just so many opportunities to do it. I mean, there's a Queen here, there's a Spore Crawler, the natural, wow. I do want to highlight that the ZergLord is actually undersaturated in his main, and his natural. He's got a gas that he's not taken yet. And the third is actually undersaturated as well. The fourth undersaturated. What the hell? How many workers are we on for our... Did he lose any workers? He only lost 4. Must have been a run by that I missed. Oh, Phoenixes. Okay, so right now the worker count is 78 to 51. Less than ideal for Zerg. So I want to say that this is kind of more a mistake from the ZergLord than it is anything else. Now, this is a rather interesting composition as well, and I think a non-traditional one at that. Oh, shit! It looks like all of these Swarm Hosts have been caught out of position. They've burrowed when it'll essentially do them no good whatsoever. And these force fields are just making essentially a harmless barrier to the Protoss army as it is advancing forward through all of that. Of course, the Colossi just step on the force fields and they disappear. And this is such a tiny force from our Protoss, really. And one thing that I like that we see from ZergLord is that he's just throwing down a bunch of locusts and, you know, just running for the hills after that. He actually managed to take down... Oh, wow. Oh, he actually managed to take down a single Immortal doing that. Not bad. But of course, the Phoenixes are able to hover over here without any trouble. Yes, they're able to hover over here without any trouble. The only question is our Zerg going to actually, you know, I don't know, become consciously aware of just what the hell is going on here, what he's making mistakes with, that kind of thing. If we can see that happen, then he'll be good to go. But right now he's floating a lot of money. He's realized that he's almost supply blocked. Excuse me. Hiccups. And what is this? Probes are being pulled. What? Wait. What? Oh, that's right. The hidden upper right expo. 19 probes on it. It's actually being targeted for saturation by all 4 of these Nexi, I believe. No. I'm completely wrong about that. But now, you know, Zerg revamping the unit composition using Swarm Hosts, Roaches, and Lings. And both players are getting closer and closer to that 200 maxed army. I do want to say that I'm leaning more in favor towards Yosh winning this simply due to the fact that he has an adequate worker count and he's on an even? No, a superior number of bases. He's a 5-base Protoss versus a 4-base Zerg. And our Zerg is actually not consciously aware of just where his saturation is at. He's maxed out on saturation in the main. Natural is still very, very, very bad. And then third isn't much better either. If he had simply, I don't know, the thing is, if he had just gotten like 70 workers in the early game and then gone on to, what's the word I'm looking for, just, you know, remaxing and throwing away armies, he would be in a very brilliant position right now. But as it is, we just now see him getting +2/+2. Protoss getting ready to A-move into this army. Stormhost being picked up, and it looks like some of them being misclicked and thrown away. Beautiful storms going down, but they won't give EternityYosh a victory and the victory alone, or will they? That's some beautiful AoE. A couple of Stormhosts are not burrowed. 3 of them actually are not burrowed. But it doesn't matter. There's an Observer here taking down everything, and I think this is going to give Yosh a push for the win. You know, I want to say TheZergLord's making so many mistakes right now. He's just completely undersaturated. He's remaxing on Lings, which are not ideal versus Colossi and Archons. But in high numbers and 200 engagements, I think they can make a difference. It just wasn't enough. Roaches are popping. There it is, the GG from TheZergLord. Just as we see some locusts getting destroyed. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This has been BreAKer. I will see you guys next time.